Hey there, everyone. This is Adam from Scum, and I'm just here to apologize for not really uploading anything yesterday. A lot of us were busy, and I was genuinely sick that day. So instead, what I decided to do is just kind of regale to you a short tale from one of my campaigns, a very fun tale that completely derailed the spirit and the results of what actually happened in European history. So with that in mind, just listen in, and hopefully you enjoy it. So, I don't know what to say other than this. My players just full on pulled a near full Henderson and utterly raped European history in the process. So, because that happened, I have to tell you the tale of the disaster at Schmerzen. Let's start off by listing the group. Elemento, human, pretty much the party face and one of two warlocks in the group. He was inspired by the Count of Monte Cristo and thus had things to settle with some old friends. The only thing that kept him going was vengeance and not much else. Katrin, human, a wandering bard that was drawn to riches and her own personal reasons. She used her performances and disguises to often walk about unnoticed. Hans, human, a rogue from not Prussia who is out to essentially buy his way into nobility by any means necessary. It's not treason, after all, if his nation isn't at war with his employer. Was a bit impulsive, but pretty much a ghost when it came to moving around. Buttons, this is the only non-human in the group, in fact, a Tibet. He's also a warlock and relies and only goes about in his cat form, meowing rather than speaking. Often the sneakiest of boys, since no one expects cats. And last but not least, Bannon, human. A good-natured duskblade and the least subtle man alive, which is of course why he was brought into a group of amoral sneak thieves. He was good with Kelgor's firebolt and lightning swords. The setting can be best described as the not Napoleonic Wars, which includes homebrewed musketry and cannons. Magic and science go hand in hand, with neither really killing the other, and fantasy races do exist, but humans really are dominant in numbers. The group is currently and likely will remain working for the not French Republic for now, especially given what happened. The group had just finished training a few groups of casters to work en masse for a planned mass combat test that I had, and were attached to the Northern Army of Gallia, particularly a regiment of troops under Colonel Boulanger, their employer. Their mission was to spoil a raid by the Sonnenfeld, i.e. not Austrian, Empire, and an attempt to raise the Royalist back using not Belgian. Now, my plan was that they would assist in crossing the rivers and secure the Picardy region from this close threat. But as soon as they heard that one of the forces that their colonel planned for was coming from a major ammo dump nicknamed Festung Schmerzen, they insisted on doing this first. Now, I knew as the DM why this option was a stupid idea. The first issue is that Bannon sucked balls at stealth, and this was more of a stealth mission at the moment due to the situation on the ground. Schmerzen was a good 30 to 50 kilometers behind enemy lines, and it was designed to be a major point needed to pacify not Wallonia. The second problem was that was where I put the Sonnenfeld Empire's elite forces at. The Liebgarde were at their weakest to a man at a party's level, which was level 4 at the time. And on average, they clocked in at level 7. There's no fucking way 5 guys should be able to fight them off. And stealth only stretches to the weakest link, which was Bannon's stealth. I really didn't want them to go off and die, so I tried my best to simply go, "Are you sure?" with Colonel Boulanger as my mouthpiece. But of course, 4 of the 5 insisted on going regardless. The only player who realized what I was doing was Bannon's player, but the group clearly voted already and were not listening, so I resolved to go for the imprisonment scenario should, and at the time I thought when, they finally fucked up. The initial run almost dies at the gate, since a high percentile roll had them in sniffing distance of a Liebgarde patrol. Thankfully they hit and my roll was poor, or else the prison session would have happened early most likely. From there it began to smooth out, and they were able to reach and break into the fort via a spotted lapse in the guard, due to it mainly being so far from the front. Hilariously, it was Bannon, who had the second worst spot in the party, who found this weak point. Things went swimmingly, courtesy of most of the party being dick-ass thieves, but there was a harrowing moment where the guard spotted Bannon. Thankfully, he rolled a 1, So, for comedy and not really wanting to TPK the party at a fort again, that's another story, I just ruled that he saw Bannon as a suit of armor, causing the party to laugh a bit since I've had this happen once before where this happened. The party was doing well since up till about halfway through the fort, they only had to fight a single member of the Liebguard. That fight was comical given he mutated into a 10-armed one-legged monster that somehow ignored grease and called shots to the leg, but thankfully my low roll saved them from investigation. But despite this, there were problems. The big issue was the layout of the place. It was labyrinthine due to the builders loving a convoluted entrance and exit to the ammo dump. It also led to a room that was pretty much impossible to sneak through. The party tried as hard as they could to sneak through, but sadly the alarms began blaring due to proximity to the main gate, and them not being able to kill them quick enough. Now, I thought at this point the party might actually do the same thing and just wig out with the loot they already stumbled into, which included a really broken set of dice, and maybe just try again with better support. Nope. They decided to go full pants on head idiot and split the party. Alimento and Buttons fled to try to get to the ammo dump, while the rest of the gang decided to loot and burn the fucking stone fort. I by this point was resigned to killing them due to this being pretty insane, and this was verified when reinforcements arrived early based on my role for them. They only realized when faced with 6 level 7 NPCs, 2 of them were Hulks, that they made a big fucking mistake. This did not happen when I began throwing OP changeling shit. They blithely ignored when I began to hurl Saver Sucks at them. But the Warhulks, that made them realize. It was at that point they finally began bugging it, except for Alimento and Buttons. You see, Alimento's player reminded me of his shoes that can cast Dimension Door, and Buttons was small and tiny, so they were going to Hail Mary bomb the ammo dump anyway. I was baffled at the stubbornness, but alright, they made that choice. Then they stumbled onto the supply commander and killed him. Again, this would have been when I'd left, since that would still hurt not Austria's chances to win and not Belgium. But they continued on. By this time, the session was getting near my normal endpoint, and I did have things to do. So I did place the dump closer. They do their thing, and everyone just barely escapes as the 1812 overture begins to play. In the process, I realized just what they did. They just wiped out the Leibgarde, the Emperor's best units. Not only that, but they fucking pulled off the ammo dump explosion early, pretty much leaving not Austria's army without ammo and powder. And then I just realized they wiped out a good group of the supply corps. And the damage just kept on piling on, both due to what happened and what I rolled. So, the final results of what the party fucking did. 95% of the Leibgarde are dead, meaning Sonnenfeld has no elites. 35% of the supply corps are dead, meaning Sonnenfeld can't organize their unruly multilingual army. Sonnenfeld's Nord army is utterly without ammo, barring their day's ration and what each barracks carried at that time. The regent and main general on the front, Priest Chancellor Sturmgeist, is tried in court for his massive fucking bout of incompetence and found guilty, being executed as a traitor. The feeble and nearly mentally retarded Ferdinand III is currently ruling without any Tard Wrangler, seizing and shitting himself out of stress and doing nothing. The not Hungarian fucking revolution happens 50 years early. Colonel Boulanger finally got that promotion he wanted to for years and became a brigadier general, and not Italy began uniting early. So the too long didn't read story? The party did something stupid, but it worked stupidly well. As a result, this one fort was destroyed so hard that a war ended 2 years early and caused events to boil over decades before they should have.